So to cut this top, you need your basic bodies, which I have here, and the length you want. So for me, my length is going to be 20 inches. It's not going to be up to my normal top length. And I already added my waist dart. So the reason why I added the waist dart to the to get to the bust point is because both the front and the back of this particular top, you can interchange them. That is, you can wear the back to the front and you can wear the front to the back. That is why I did this. And this pattern, I'll be using it to cut out both the front and the back. So this is the neckline I'll be using for my back. I came down by 3 inches, and the width is 3.75. I came down by 3 inches because I can interchange it. Assuming I don't want to interchange it, I can just come up by 1 inch. Okay, so I'll go ahead and cut out the neckline now, then use this pattern to cut out our back bodies. Then I will add to it in order to cut out our front bodies. You know that it is an overlap top at, let's say, at the front. Yes, so you can interchange it if you want. So I'll cut this first to cut out the back, then I'll add another pattern paper to it in order to cut out the front. So it is a very easy to make top. So I'm gonna cut out the back. So this is our front line. You see that I've added another pattern paper to it because we need to extend it to create the overlap. So what I'll do now is I'll extend these lines, especially the waistline. I need the waistline most. So this is my waist. This is my under bust and waistline. That is what I need for this particular one. So I'm gonna need to extend it. The next thing is to determine your neck depth for the front. So I came down by 3 inches for the back, so I'll just place my 3 inches like so and determine my neck depth for the front. So for the front, I'll be using 7.5 for my neck depth for the front. We are still maintaining the same neck width, right? So I'll connect this 7.5 to this first in order to create a V neckline. The reason why I'm using 7, I don't want it to be too open. Okay, so after that, I'll go ahead and determine my overlap. Now the overlap now is you have to add your what's it called, quarter of your waist measurement. That is what you will add, or yes, or you can minus one from quarter of your waist measurement. Now quarter of my own waist measurement is 7, so I'll just minus one. I'll use 6. So the reason why I said quarter of your waist measurement is so that you can the overlap can be very, like, so that it can lap very well. Okay, so I'll go ahead and connect that together. Now my dart is going to be starting from my under from my waistline. My extension, this is where I'm going to attach in the belt. So it's going to be from my half length all the way down. So what I'll do is I'll connect this back to my half length using a straight ruler like this. So this is what we are going to have. So I will just go ahead and trim out a bit here because the belt I'll be using can never be as long as this. Okay, so I will determine the width of my belt. I'll be using 3 inches as the width of my belt. 3 inches as the width of my belt. Then I'll connect it back to the length that we have here. I hope this is clear. I'm going to repeat that again. So after connecting your neck depth to the half length, you need to determine how wide you want your belt to be, right? So I want my belt to be 3 inches. So I'll mark my 3 inches and connect it back to where this is my center front before Abi. So I'll connect it back to the length of my top, just like this. So I'll be using this to connect it. So by the time I want to join my belt, the belt is just going to be between this place and this place. So all this place, I do not need them again. So I'll be cutting it out. If you want your belt to be shorter, you see that I've already reduced it. You can just do well to reduce it, and that is all. So I'll go ahead and cut this out now. I'll cut this out. You can increase the length of your neckline. I do not want it to be open. That is why I am using that particular neckline. So by the time I even cut it out from my fabric and I see that it's too close, I can decide to increase it. So it's going to be overlapping on this place. So I'll be cutting two pieces of this, then I'll show you how it's going to look by the time we finish sewing it. So we are going to be attaching your belt to this place. So I'm going to cut my front pattern, as you can see, and this is our center front. So I'm going to be notching that point now, then I will overlap it so that we can see how it's going to look like. So you have to notch it like this in order to know the center front. The reason why I notch it is just because I want to show us. So normally you don't really need to notch it. Then I'll place it on each other like this. So the notches are going to stay on each other. They have to align just like this. And this is what we have. So the belt is going to be here. This is too close for me. I'm going to be increasing it. It's too close. So by the time I fold it in half and half, it's too close. So I'll just go ahead and increase it a bit, and that's all. So you see that it's better for you to cut it small more than when it's now much, because this is a double breasted overlap top. I don't really like a situation whereby you now wear it, you now need to be wearing tube or camisole under it. So it's better for you to cut it, the neckline not to be too deep than when the neckline is too small, because the more the overlap, the more it closes, right? So if assuming I did not use up to 2 inches for this overlap, that particular neckline is going to be open enough for me, but it's because I used 2 inches, and I purposely did that so that I can explain what I'm explaining now. Because I use 6 inches, this 6 inches, that is why the overlap is not is that is why the neckline is not really showing. That is why it's closed up like that. Assuming the overlap is like 4 inches, with the 7.5 neckline that I use, the what's it called? The neckline is going to show. So I'll go ahead and trim it now. I'll show you how I'm going to trim it, then so that you see the difference. So you know that I've already added allowance to this, and I use 7.5 for my neck depth. So I will just mark 8.8 to 8 inch. This is the neck depth I used initially. So I'll be increasing it by 1.5. So what I'm going to do is, this is not really showing. So this marker. So I'll connect this to this all the way back here. So I'll do that now. I'll make sure that I place it very well so that it's going to be the same. You can decide to use your ruler to mark it first. For me, I'm just going in like this. Then I'll connect it back to my neck width. So let's see what we have now. By the time we overlap it like this, you see that it is more open now. Can you see what I'm saying? You see that it is more open. So I prefer this. So let me measure what we have here. I have 7.5. So by the time I take it in and take it in, it's going to be more open. So I like it this way. I like it this way. So that is all. I'll go ahead and cut out my belt. You can cut as long as you want for your belt. Cut out the belt that will stay here, and we go to the sewing machine. So I'm gonna to join my belt. This is my belt, and this is one piece of my side seam. So what I'll be doing now is I'll be joining the belt to it. Right side of the belt facing right side of the fabric. You can see that I left allowance here and here because I'm still going to be turning it with lining. So I'll pin the belt down like this, then I'll join it to it. After joining it to it, I'll take my lining in order to use my lining to turn it. So I'll turn the neckline first, which is the overlap area. Then I'll turn the space and I'll turn the other part also. So after doing it, I'll show you what I'll do this for both the two pieces, and I'll also turn the lining for the back piece also. So before adding the dart at all. So after joining the lining, I'm going to be top stitching it. But if you are not putting lining on your own, you just go ahead and use your bias to close the leg before adding the belt piece. So use your bias to finish up the leg before adding the belt. So after turning your lining with the fabric, if you are using lining, the next thing is to create your dart. So what you are going to do for the front pattern, for the front fabric, is to flip it like this and measure whatever you use as your overlap. So for me, I use 6 as my overlap, so I'll be measuring 6 like this. So this place is going to be my center front. So I just want to create my center front. So I'll make sure I iron it so that I can have a crease around that place. So now that we know our center front, the next thing is to create our dart the normal way we usually create it. So from the center front, you mark half of your bust span, then you create your dart. So for me, I'll be using 4 inch. So from the upper part here, stop at 11, then I'll sew it all the way down. So my dart is going to be starting from this point all the way down. So you're going to do the same thing for the second piece of the front also. And for your back piece, go ahead and create your dart the normal way you usually create your dart. This is for those that are adding that to theirs, like I am doing. If you are not adding that to your own, after turning your lining, the next thing is to join it by the side seam. So after creating my dart, I'm gonna join it at the shoulder, both the front and back. So it's time to join by the side. Now if you want to join by the side, you have to determine where your overlap is going to face. If you want the overlap to face the right side, you are going to leave a space while joining by the side seam on your left side. But if the overlap is going to be facing the left side, you are going to leave a space while joining it on the right side. So the reverse is the case. If the overlap is facing right, your space is going to be on the left. If the overlap is facing left, your space is going to be on the right. And the space is going to be in between where you add your belt. Now this is my belt. So just you can just place it like this. This is where my overlap is going to be. My space rather. So my space is going to be in between this space. It doesn't have to be as wide as this. You just need a space for the belt to pass through. So I'm going to be reducing this like this. So by the time I'm sewing it like this, I'll get here, I will reverse it very well. Then I'll continue my sewing from here. Go together. So go ahead and join it with the seam allowance you add while cutting. And join you are going to be joining the second side from the beginning to the end. It's just one side you are going to be leaving the space. Except you want to be interchanging where the overlap is going to face. That you want to today you might say that okay, I want it to face the right and tomorrow you said it's the left. That is when you are going to leave this space on the two sides. But if you are not doing that, just leave the space on one side join your side stream and add your seed, and that is all. If you have watched this video to this moment, kindly like this video and so that YouTube can recommend it to a lot of people. Do not forget to subscribe, turn on your notification bell so that you can get notified whenever I drop new videos. And remember to comment. So if you have a tutorial you want to request, do not forget to drop it in the comment section. I'll go through them and do well to create the tutorial for us. So I'll show you the finished product now.